Hello, welcome back to Coding with Varel. Today we're going to look at a tool or agent called codename Goose. It's from a company called Block and it's open source, but we'll talk more about that later. We'll talk more about what Goose is and how it compares to Agent Zero and Roo Code, but more on that later. Let's jump in. So what is Goose? Goose is an AI agent that can execute tasks for you on your computer. Goose has the ability to control your computer, including apps on your computer. Goose is different than Roo Code, which can only create files in your computer, but only within the directory you are operating in. Roo Code can also run commands on your computer, but those commands can't control apps beyond what is possible at the command line. For example, even if Roo Code opens a web browser or a GUI application, it isn't able to perform mouse click or scroll, etc. Similarly, Agent Zero can only create files in the directory mapped to the container, so it's impossible to start or control a GUI application on your computer. Agent Zero can use web application within its container, but you use non-web application also, and therefore Agent Zero won't be able to help you there. This is where Goose comes in to fill the gap. Like Agent Zero, Goose has great documentation and a ton of awesome YouTube videos on how to use just about any part of it. I won't spend too much time showing you these since their video already exists. I will quickly show you how to install it and get started. The Goose team provides both a CLI and GUI version of their tool. You can install either or both. If you have both installed, they share the same configuration, so you don't have to worry about that. There are some differences between them, but it's more going to be up to you how you want to interact with Goose than it's going to decide if you use the CLI or the GUI. I'm going to install Goose GUI for my MacBook Intel. This is a fairly simple process, as it's just basically downloading the zip file, open it, and then dropping the Goose application into the applications directory. This is a Mac thing, so your way of installing for Linux or Windows is going to be different, of course. If you have the Goose CLI installed, or if you decide to go to Goose CLI approach, you can also update the Goose CLI by simply running the Goose update subcommand, and it will keep updating the CLI from there on. Now, note that when you update the Goose CLI, it does not update the GUI. If you have the GUI installed also, once you open the GUI application, you're going to see the Goose icon if you're on a Mac like me in the title bar, or Windows, you should see it down at the bottom, and you'll see a little notification telling you if there's an update. At that point, you can go into the clicking it will take you to the settings menu, and I'll show you later on where in the settings menu you're going to be able to do the update. For me, I just reinstall the app and that gives me the update. So what makes AI agents really powerful is the use of MPC servers. So what is MPC? I've mentioned this before in Roo Code and when we talk about Agent Zero. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. And so an MCP server is simply an application or a service or a server that implements MCP protocol. MCP defines the set of tools, how it's used, what it can do, so that the agent can decide when to use certain tools and how to call it depending on what action it wants to perform. So agents like Roo Code, Agent Zero, and Goose all use MCP services to perform the action you want. Goose uses the term extension for MCP server. So when you add an extension to Goose, you're configuring a MCP server. For instance, take the computer control extension for Goose. It's an MCP server which gives Goose the tools to open graphical application, navigate UI using mouse event, and more, thus making it possible for Goose to open a music player on your computer and start a song. Another example is the file system extension, which gives Goose tools to perform file and directory operations like create, delete, rename files, and so on. If you want Goose to search the web for flight information or plan a trip for you, you will install something like the Kiwi search extension or the same MCP for Roo Code and Agent 0 if you want to use, again, flight search from those tools. Once installed, if you prompt it to find flight information, the agent will look to see which tools it has installed and just use the appropriate tool. In this video, we'll try to get Goose to create the same to-do app we asked Agent 0 to create in the previous video. I have simply created a new directory with the prompt for the application. Before we get started though, let's quickly familiarize ourselves with the Goose's UI. I'm not going to be covering how to use the Goose command line. If you decide to go that route, then I'm pretty sure you're doing that because you're very comfortable with command line applications. The first thing you'll see when you open the Goose GUI UI is the home button screen. If you navigate away from the home screen, you can always get back there by clicking on the button that says home. The home button shows, or the home screen shows a summary like a dashboard. So it shows recent chat, memory usage, that sort of thing, and a place for you to type your prompt. There's not too much exciting here, but it's sort of like your getting started place. There's also a chat button, and this is going to do exactly what you expect. We have spent time talking about chat in so many applications, Open Web UI, Agent 0, Roo Code. So it shouldn't be surprising that the chat window is where you would type your prompt and send it to the agent. Note, however, Goose can access any file on your computer. So unlike Roo Code and Agent 0, where it's limited to the directory where you invoke them, even though I have Goose here set to a specific directory, which you can change by clicking on the directory name and navigating to a different directory, if you ask Goose to access a file on, say, your desktop, it's going to be able to do that even though you might be in a completely different directory. Again, remember, Goose has the file system extension as built in and the computer control extension also built in by default. They're enabled, but you can of course disable them if you don't want Goose to be able to control anything on your computer or access files. Now, the next button below chat is the history button, and it's exactly what you think it is. It's just going to show you a history of your chats. Below history is the recipes button. A recipe is a way to capture a complex prompt which you can reuse or share with others. Additionally, you can add recipes others have created and shared. It's a really nice feature, and I suggest that you check out the Goose YouTube video on recipes. So I'm not going to spend the time talking more about it because they do a really, really good job of showing you a use case there. Below recipes is scheduler, and this is similar to the task feature in Agent 0. It makes sense. The scheduler, schedule things that you want to run repeatedly. So you can schedule one of your recipes to be run, for example, on a specific time. Below scheduler is the extension button. You click that, it's going to take you to the page where you can manage all your extension. We have already talked about extensions in Goose, which are just MPC servers. The thing to note here is that you can have as many extensions as you want installed, but be very careful how many you have enabled. Having them installed doesn't cause the issue. It's the one you have enabled that's going to cause the issue. I've noticed that if I have more than about 6 or so enabled, Goose struggled quite a bit. It's very sluggish. It's very slow. As a matter of fact, on the command line, if I have too many enabled, it tells me that I have too many enabled and offers me to disable them. So be careful how many you have enabled. Regardless of the extension that you have installed or enabled, the ones that you have configured will be shared between your GUI and CI if you have both of those installed. As you can see on my screen, I have about 6 extensions enabled, but I have quite a bit more installed. And depending on what I'm doing, I tend to disable and enable other extensions. So the last button on the left-hand side is settings. So if you click on the settings button, it's going to take you to a page where you can see several tabs. The first tab is model. We'll skip over the model tab for now and come back to that later. The next tab is chat. The chat tab is where you can configure how Goose interact with tools and extensions. Basically, you can set things like limits, how it responds, if it prompts you before using the tool, if you want to enable voice dictation, and many more. Next is the session tab. On the session tab, you can enable sessions sharing. By default, all of your sessions in Goose are private. I haven't used this session sharing feature. I haven't used session sharing, and I don't know what exactly I would put in the base URL. If I'm running this on my laptop, I guess it might be, the host name where you're running Goose. I like how Agent 0 creates a tunnel for you to share your instance, but anyway, I'm pretty sure the Goose documentation cover exactly what sessions are. I just haven't looked into it. So moving on. Next is Apps tab. The Apps tab is where you can check for updates. I mentioned that if you see that there's an update from the Goose icon, if you're using the graphical version, and you click on it, it'll bring you to the settings page, but then you'd still have to click on the App tab to actually see that you can update the application. Like I said, what I usually do is just go download it and reinstall it, but you can do it however it makes sense for your platform. Within here, you can see which version you're running, and you can, of course, set things like light and dark theme, that sort of thing. All right, so let's go back to the Models tab. Back in the Models tab, you can select which model you want to be Goose to use. First, however, you'll have to configure your model providers, or model provider, if it's one you use it. At any time, you can basically just use one model in Goose, but of course you can have multiple configured, so you can easily switch between them. Just as we did in Roo Code and Agent 0, this is just basically having the keys for your model provider and being able to put them in. So if you've done this for these two apps, it's no different here. So you click on a button to configure the model provider you want, put your key in, and click Submit. Once you click Submit, Goose is going to validate that you can use that key successfully. And if it can, it's going to use a green check icon in the box for that model provider. So you can know that this provider was successfully configured. After you've configured all your model providers, you can click on the back button at the top, scroll back up to the top, click the back button, and now you can choose which model you actually want to use for a model provider. So first thing you can do is select the model provider you want to use, and Goose is going to fetch a list of models for you to select. If you're using the fetch extension, we didn't talk about this, but when I was browsing through the Goose document website, the fetch extension warns you not to use Gemini 2.0 Flash model because it doesn't understand the format. So I spent a lot of time running into this issue and trying to resolve it before I finally found the issue on Goose's website, and now I'm glad to see that it's there on the page, so The fetch extension is what allows you to do web searches, by the way. After selecting the model you want to use, you're all set to start using Goose. So let's ask Goose to create our to-do application. So I'm going to go copy our prompt so I can give it to Goose. So after I submitted my prompt, Goose encountered an issue because it was trying to use my Olama instance on my Linux machine, even though I told it I wanted to use Gemini. And you could see clearly that in the prompt window at the bottom, it says Gemini 2.5 Flash. So I don't know exactly why, but anyway, when I went into the prompt configuration window, I see that there's something that says like you can enable like a leader, so which actually does like maybe the planning. So that's where I enable it, and I didn't have to do this before, but since it encountered this issue, I decided to okay, let me change that. So I configure that to have a leader and set it to also Gemini 2.5 Flash, and then I resubmitted the prompt. Goose tried to create the application using Python Flask project, and I didn't want that, so I stopped it and cleaned up, and then told it that I actually wanted to use HTML, CSS for the front end and Node for the back end. Then I submitted it, and it churned through it for a while, I mean, I think it was pretty fast, but this generally takes a long time. Eventually, it told me that I had to open the front end that index.html file. Eventually, it told me to open frontend / index.html file, which I was expecting it to open the file and actually test it. And then only after it was verified that the application was implemented correctly, then it would tell me to, use it. But anyway, that's what happened. And once I opened it, well, the application looked fine, and it's actually usable and it works. The team worked, but I wanted Goose to still test the application. And so once I asked it to test it, it tried, but again, I don't think it was very successful. At least I don't think it was successful as how Agent 0 was able to launch the application, identify the elements, click on them, and fix issues. So I think in this way, Goose actually sort of failed, even though the application looked okay once I opened it. So I wanted to see if maybe this was an issue with Gemini, and maybe to see if Anthropic would do a better job. So once again, I cleaned up everything, deleted all the files that were created except for the prompt in my directory, configure Claude 3.7 Sonnet as my model, and once again submitted the exact same prompt. And sure enough, it tried to create the application. This time it actually opened it, launched my web browser. Before, in order for Goose to launch my web browser, I had to ask it and say, hey, I want you to open my web browser and open the browser and test the application. And it did open the browser, but it didn't really test it like I was expecting it to interact with it using like Playwright or something. Claude actually said that it's going to use Playwright. I didn't tell it to use Playwright. It said it's going to use Playwright, and it opened the browser, but it was just having a problem. I had a lot of blank screens. Even when I saw the to-do application, I couldn't interact with it. If I click on the screen, I would get my busy cursor, the beach volleyball in Mac. And then eventually, if I refresh, or sometimes even when it refreshed the application, it would be this network error and so on. I copy what the error I see on the screen, paste it into Goose so it would send to Claude, and yet it couldn't fix the issue. So after doing this for a while, this was taking a very long time. So this video would have been really, really long if I actually showed you all of that. I eventually just stopped it. And so I never successfully got a working application with Claude, which is sort of strange because I know for a fact that people have created using vibe coding, which is exactly what we were doing, spoiler. So I know that people have vibe coded very complex application, much more complex than a to-do application, using Claude, using Gemini. So I don't think the problem is with Goose. I'm just not sure, because I've done the same sort of application again with Agent 0 and Roo Code, but for whatever reason, yes, I wasn't too successful today. I have used Goose to do many other things, and it seems to work. But yes, today I didn't have a very good result to show you. But it's promising, and I hope that your mileage is much better than mine. So, but I still think it's a useful tool. I like that it can interact with your computer. I like that you can ask it to do other things more than just create application. And if you do the tutorial for Goose, I think you'll be pretty impressed with the kind of things that you can do with it. And if you watch some of their goosing around videos, you'll see that they've used it for all sort of things. And the people who are writing Goose are actually using it in their daily lives. So it's, like I said, I think it's really, really promising. With that said, I hope we're ending the video. I hope that you enjoy the material. I know that I had to fast forward through a lot of things because this video would just be really, really, really long. I actually recorded like an hour on something content, and none of you want to sit down and watch something for an hour. So I had to cut it down. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. If you're new, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you. Take care. Stay safe. See you. Bye.